Hello good people. Today I'm going to show you how to form and shape sfogliatelle frolle. I've got here lumps of pastry pre-made for the sfogliatella frolla and the filling here done with the usual recipe including ricotta, semolina and candied orange peel. The pastry of sfogliatella frolla is a bit of a special beast. Typically high fat content pastries, they need to be treated very carefully. You want to handle them as little as possible so that you don't develop gluten and they remain crumbly and melt in the mouth structure. The pastry of the sfogliatella frolla instead likes it very vigorous. So what we're going to be doing is to handle each one of these lumps, they're about 50 grams each, to shape it into the sfogliatella frolla case. So the very first thing we're going to be doing with this is to literally squash it on the worktop, like that, literally almost spreading it. This is something that with a standard pastry you would never dream of doing, but it's needed because it refines the structure and it goes from the coarse texture that you get from the pastry ready-made to the fine texture that you need for the sfogliatella frolla case. So again, working with this bit of your hand, you spread it on the worktop, roll it back again, and you repeat the operation a few times until you feel that the structure has been refined and the grain is not as coarse as it was in the original dough. After you've done this a few times, you roll it up into a nice spherical shape, and you've got your dough here ready to be rolled down to the right thickness. And if you compare the pristine dough with the dough now, you can actually see that the structure has changed significantly throughout this process and you've achieved what's needed next. The next step is to roll down this bowl of pastry to about 3 millimeter thickness. A proper sfogliatella frolla has got a very thin casing, so you don't want to go any thicker than that. So this time we're going to be using a lightly floured surface as opposed to the previous step. And again, with the palm of your hand, just roughly pat your bowl of pastry down to a roughly circular shape. At this stage, with your rolling pin and the 3 millimeter spacers, you roll it to 3 millimeter thickness and you will end up with an oval shape. The next step is to add the filling. You can do this either with spoons or with a piping bag if you prefer. The filling is creamy enough to be piped, and usually each sfogliatella takes about 1 heaped tablespoon of filling, more or less. You want to give them a nicely domed shape because they will lose some height in the oven otherwise. As you can see, I've placed the filling in the top half of my oval shape. So now I can pick up the bottom half, flip it over and close it like that. And with my thumbs, I'm gently sealing the edges while squeezing out any excess air. Effectively, what I'm doing there is almost like shaping a large single raviolo, effectively. A sweet one, not a savory one. For the next and final step, I'm going to be using the sides of my hands and hugging the filling of the sfogliatella, gathering it up all in the center of the sfogliatella while applying a gentle pressure with my hands to seal the edges further. There you go. So as you can see, all the filling has been gathered up in the center of my pastry. I've ended up with a domed shape and a lot of extra pastry from the sides that I'm going to be trimming with an 8 centimeter diameter ring. And that's your sfogliatella shaped and formed. Sfogliatelle will retain a nice crumbly pastry with a very moist and indulgent filling. I hope you like them.